The first thing I felt wasn't grief. I know you'd expect me to say grief. That's what they write in stories, right? The mother loses her child, and she weeps. She collapses. She falls apart. But I didn't fall apart. Because what I felt was worse than grief. It was hollow. Empty. Like something had reached inside my chest while I was still bleeding, still weak, still trying to remember how to breathe, and ripped out the part of me that knew how to hope. My child was gone. And before I could even cry, they came to steal from me. Part 1, The Broken Luna. I was lying in my own bed. My own sheets. My own blood still drying on my skin. And I heard them. Voices. Sharp. Laughing. My mother-in-law. My sister-in-law. They didn't know I was awake. Or maybe they didn't care. I heard jewelry clinking. Drawers opening. Fabric rustling. They were going through my things. My things. The jewels my own mother left me. The silver comb my father gave me on my wedding day. The bracelet I wore when I first shifted. And then, her voice. My mother-in-law. Cold as frozen stone. You couldn't even carry a child to term. I stopped breathing. That's as good as murdering my grandson. Murder. She said murder. Like I had chosen this. Like I had woken up one morning and decided to let my baby die inside me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her that I had prayed. I had begged. I had held my stomach every single night and promised that child I would protect them with everything I had. But my body failed. My body failed both of us. And now I was lying here, listening to them steal from me, while my husband was still at war. That was my child too, I whispered. The room went quiet. Then my mother-in-law laughed. Barely. Barely. Like my son or daughter hadn't existed at all. Like the life I carried for 5 months was just an inconvenience. A failed experiment. And that's when I understood. To them, I wasn't family. I wasn't even a person. I was a vessel. A womb with legs. And because that womb had failed, I was worthless. The punishment came the next morning. I was still too weak to stand on my own. Still bleeding. Still mourning. But they didn't care. They stripped me of my title. Took my room. Took my clothes. Took my dignity. And they put me to work. The Luna of Crescent Keep, one of the oldest wolf packs in the region, reduced to scrubbing floors. Emptying chamber pots. Washing the laundry of the very women who had stolen from me. And I did it. I want you to understand something important. I'm not weak. I've never been weak. But my father, my sweet, gentle, aging father, was still under their protection. Still living on their land. Still breathing their air. And if I fought back? If I refused? They would hurt him. So I swallowed every tear. Every scream. Every ounce of rage that burned in my chest. I picked up the scrub brush. And I got to work. 3 weeks later, the doors burst open. My husband was home. Lucian. The Alpha of Crescent Keep. Returned from war, victorious, unharmed, untouched by the bloodshed that had taken so many others. I remember my heart stuttering when I saw him. Stupid, really. After everything. After the way his mother treated me. After the silence. After the abandonment. I still hoped. I still thought, maybe now. Maybe he'll see me. Maybe he'll hold me. Maybe he'll tell me he's sorry we lost the baby, and we'll grieve together, and somehow, we'll find our way back to each other. He looked at me. And his face twisted. You look dreadful. You look dreadful. Not I'm sorry. Not I missed you. Not even a simple hello. Just disgust. Pure, unfiltered disgust, like I was something he stepped in on his way inside. I opened my mouth to speak. To explain. To beg him to understand. And then I heard her. Soft footsteps. Light laughter. Sweet, feminine, innocent. Virile. She walked in behind him like she belonged there. Like she'd been there the whole time. Like she was the Luna, and I was just the maid scrubbing floors in the corner. I'm his lover, she said. Smiling. Smiling. The words didn't just hurt me. They shattered something final. Something I didn't even know I'd been holding on to. Because I had loved him. Truly. Deeply. I had given him everything, my body, my future, my child. And he had replaced me before my blood had even dried. I confronted him that night. I shouldn't have. I knew I shouldn't have. But I had to know. I had to hear it from his mouth. Did you ever love me? He didn't even look up from his desk. I never accepted the mate bond. My knees went weak. The bond chose you, he said, cold and flat. I didn't. I don't love you. I never did. Never. 6 years of marriage. 6 years of devotion. 6 years of sharing his bed, managing his pack, carrying his child. And he had never loved me. Not once. And the baby? I whispered. Did you love the baby? He shrugged. That's not an exaggeration. He actually shrugged. Probably for the best. It would have been a nuisance anyway. A nuisance. My child. My dead child. The little life that I had felt kicking inside me, the life I had already named, already dreamed about, already loved with every fiber of my being, was a nuisance. Something inside me died in that moment. Not broke. Not cracked. Died. And I realized I had 2 choices. I could stay here. Let them humiliate me. Let them use me. Let them slowly drain every last drop of hope from my body until there was nothing left but a hollow shell scrubbing floors until I turned gray. Or I could leave. I will sever the bond. The words came out stronger than I felt. Lucian looked up at me, really looked at me, for the first time in years. You can't, he said. You have nothing. No money. No pack. No wolf. You'd be rogue. Hunted. Dead within a month. He wasn't wrong. Severing the bond meant losing everything. My home. My status. My protection. My name. Everything my father had built. Everything I had suffered for. Gone. But staying? Staying was worse than death. So I chose. I chose me. For the first time in 6 years, I chose me. The Wolf King sits at the center of the continent like a beast made of stone. Every wolf knows it. Every alpha fears it. Because inside sits the most dangerous man alive. The Wolf King. Ruler of all alphas. Conqueror of 17 packs. A tyrant, a monster, a man who has never lost a battle and has never shown mercy. No one defies him. No one even speaks to him unless he speaks first. And I, a disgraced Luna with no wolf, no power, and no protection, walked through his doors and asked for an audience. The guards laughed at me. Until I told them why I was there. The Luna of Crescent Keep seeks to sever her bond with her alpha. The laughter stopped. They led me inside. I knelt before his throne. I didn't look up. I didn't dare. I could feel his presence like heat from a fire, heavy, suffocating, alive. I seek to sever my bond, I said. Silence. Then his voice. Low. Deep. The kind of voice that made armies tremble. Denied. Just like that. Denied. I looked up, and regretted it immediately. His eyes weren't normal. They weren't wolf gold or human brown. They were dark. Ancient. Like looking into the eyes of something that had lived too long and seen too much. He wasn't just a king. He was a predator. And I was kneeling at his feet like prey. I should have left. I should have taken his denial, walked out those doors, and found another way. But fate, cruel, twisted, vicious fate, had other plans. I got lost in the keep. The halls all looked the same. Stone. Torches. Shadows. And behind one of those shadows, hidden behind a tapestry I never should have touched, I heard voices. The king's voice. And someone else. Someone afraid. You have 3 months, a healer whispered. Maybe less. The nightmare brand is spreading. Once it reaches your heart. I know what happens when it reaches my heart. The king's voice was calm. Terrifyingly calm. Then you know there's no cure. Silence. Then the king laughed. Low. Bitter. There's always a cure. I just haven't found it yet. I shouldn't have gasped. But I did. And when I turned to run, he was already there. Blocking my path. Eyes glowing faintly in the dark. The air around him crackling with power. You heard nothing, he said. I heard everything, I whispered. His hand closed around my throat. I could kill you where you stand. No one would question it. No one would even notice. I believed him. But here's the thing about having nothing left to lose. It makes you dangerous. I didn't beg. I didn't cry. I didn't plead for mercy. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the small knife I'd been carrying since I left Crescent Keep, and before he could stop me, I cut my palm. Blood welled up. Dark. Hot. Alive. And I spoke the words my grandmother taught me when I was just a girl. Words I never thought I'd use. Words that hadn't been spoken in 100 years. By blood and bone, by moon and stone, I bind my life to thine alone. What breaks you, breaks me. What saves you, saves me. This oath is sworn, under the blood moon's gleam. The air cracked. Something ancient and terrible snapped into place between us. A chain. Invisible. Unbreakable. I looked up at the Wolf King, the most dangerous man in the world, and smiled. Now, I said softly. If I die, you die. The silence that followed was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. Then. Rage. Pure, absolute, volcanic rage. You dare curse me? His voice shook the stones. You insignificant, worthless. But he stopped. Because beneath his fury, beneath the murder in his eyes, something else flickered. Shock. Surprise. Because for the first time in his entire life, someone had outplayed the Wolf King. And that someone was a broken Luna with nothing to lose. The healer came running at the king's roar. She took one look at my blood, still dripping from my palm, still glowing faintly in the torchlight, and her face went pale. Moon goddess lineage, she whispered. Her blood, it's pure. The king stared at me. She's slowing the curse, the healer said, voice shaking. The nightmare brand, it's retreating. Just slightly. But it's working. I didn't understand what that meant. But the king did. His eyes, those dark, ancient, terrifying eyes, widened. I wasn't just a nobody anymore. I was his only chance to live. And in that moment, everything changed. He stepped closer. Slow. Deliberate. Predatory. I should have been afraid. I was afraid. But I was also something else, something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Powerful. His hand came up. His fingers brushed my chin, tilting my face toward his. You don't belong to your husband anymore. His voice dropped. Low. Dark. Intimate in a way that made my skin burn. You belong to me now. And the worst part? The absolute worst part? I wasn't sure I wanted to run. If you felt that tension, if you saw the moment she turned from prey to power, then you already know. This story is far from over. Subscribe now and hit the bell for part 2, The King's Obsession. Because when the broken Luna becomes the king's only hope, everything changes.